Oh, that's my life. Audition, 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 get nothing.
Yeah, very slay.
Love that.
Very slay.
Love that experience for us.
Turn your...
It was off, you fook.
Okay.
You fook.
Sorry I did anything.
Thank you for your apology.
We need to get headphone extenders because I really hate having to like hold this with my toes.
Yeah, it's gross because I can look down and you're twirling it in your toes.
I
I'm like,
am, and I'm
ew.
like just playing with it like it's in my hands.
Nasty.
Because I
really
have
nice.
ADHD, I think. Let me take a little swallow.
Ooh.
What?
On a gay podcast, don't say that.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I'm trying to like eye clap. That's the only thing I get to do.
That's my job.
Wow, that's the only time I've ever heard that in our life. The only thing I get to do. I have to do everything.
I mean, I did set up all of the equipment every single time anyways, but you know,
Actually, I did the camera and I put the lights in the correct position.
I just want people to
and
know that I
hooked
do
up the
things.
headphones.
ooh, the headphones, you plugged them in.
You go fuck yourself.
You know, if I could,
Well,
maybe I would. You should. You
could
didn't
if you
twist the.
wanted to. Oh shit! You want to go do that?
Yeah,
It's the one thing you can do.
Yeah, I'll do the one thing, since I have to do everything else.
Oh god, you're gonna make this really
You're in the middle of the couch.
such a fat ass.
juicy.
You're a funny boy. Okay. Oh my
Oh, why's your foot there?
I'm more than the sound of my farts.
Welcome to Homocide, the podcast. My name is Brandon.
And I'm Kevin. Hello.
Little weird role reversal there.
It was a weird one, and I didn't do my twinkle fingers. I did a clap for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But you
Nice
should
job.
do like the finger and thumb clap.
Damn it! I should have done that instead. Ugh, redo. Just kidding. Anna, hi.
Hi, guys.
Anna, how are you?
I'm good. I did get diverted on the way here, so I, for some reason, on a Sunday morning, have been to 42nd Street, which we all know is
Not fun.
ass.
Yes.
Yeah, if you are a New Yorker,
Yeah.
Don't go there.
no.
At first, when you said diverted, I thought you were going to say
Diarrhea.
diarrhea.
Yeah,
like,
so
oh,
this morning
no.
I woke up with diarrhea.
Woke up with diarrhea, and it's like,
You're
we're going
okay.
there.
You might need to pause a few times so she could use the bathroom.
oh shit, that
No,
was
none
funny.
of that.
None of that is
I
happening.
rebuke
Not
that.
this morning.
That's really funny. Yeah, no, 42nd Street is like I avoid
Yeah.
always. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is Times Square for those of you not here.
Yeah, it's an awful place.
I mean, it's cute
Is it?
Is it?
for one
To who?
time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to
like
go,
I remember my first time I loved it, but
to go during a random day when nobody is there.
Yeah.
Like on a rainy day.
when it's snowing. That's actually kind of cute. Have you been there when it's snowing?
Oh, yeah.
It's actually really pretty. And there's snow in there.
Yeah, when I went for my NYU audition, it was during a blizzard, and we were staying in the Times Square area,
Okay.
and it was like so bad of a blizzard that all of the streets closed down. So
Oh.
it was kind of really cool because the lights were still up and
Yeah.
whatever, and there weren't any like cars on the street.
Which is nice because you can kind of, I don't know, I get really not nervous, but like overwhelmed.
I mean, yeah,
just
that's
too many
why
people.
that's why I hate that area
Yeah, there's
because
just too many
it's
people.
so overwhelming,
Yeah.
and nobody knows etiquette of how to walk.
No. And you have a bunch of people trying to scam people.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like all the creepy people in their like costumes
Ew, those people
that look like they
creep
smell
me
like cat
out.
pee.
Yeah.
Guys, there's a
Oh.
documentary about them.
And yeah, and it's
Have you ever
So
seen it?
weird now.
and how
really
they like
bizarre.
take advantage of people and they like
Yeah.
bum rush them to take photos and like demand they pay them for money and stuff.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It's like when somebody tries to overwhelm you to just make you say yes.
Yeah.
That's basically
Those-
what Times Square feels like in general.
That is Times Square.
Right.
And yeah. Where was your NYU audition? Was it at Juilliard?
Is that Tish?
Or Tish? That's what yes, thank you. But Tish is up here, right?
No, it's downtown.
Oh,
We were
it's
just
down.
staying up here because
Oh, got it. Okay.
when I auditioned for NYU, my parents were very much like, "You're not going to NYU. Like, we're just doing this as an excuse to like go to New York City, and we know that it's your dream school. So like, we'll just take
Like,
a
we'll
trip to
go.
New York
Yeah.
City, like
Yeah.
to take a vacation to New York City." So we were like, we like piled as many shows as we could into that like week,
love
and then I
that.
randomly auditioned, and then
And
that
got
was
in.
and got in, and that was that.
So then they were like, well, I guess you are going.
They were like, "Wait, shit, okay."
Maybe we shouldn't have done that.
Wait, shit.
They didn't see that one coming.
And here you are, now a New
From
Yorker.
Texas
Yeah.
to Manhattan.
Texas.
Which, by the way, this is probably going to sound weird, but my biological mom is deaf. And so when I was little, I spoke like ASL and English at the same time. But she would always say Texas.
Oh.
And so I have listened to the podcast before and realized that I
You say
would
it
say
like-
Tekis with no context. So that is why it comes
I've
out
never
that way.
noticed that. That's so
Yeah.
funny.
It's just one of your terms.
Tekis.
It's just like a thing that even people probably who know me are like, why does he do that? That's why.
They just think you're like,
A weirdo.
I feel like you guys just say things weirdly sometimes.
We
And
do.
you're like vampire, you know?
That
So
one
I
was
just,
my friend
I let
Kayla,
it
but yeah.
fly because
I
I'm
know.
like, this
You're
is
like,
just part of
what?
your vernacular.
I mean, this is actually
Essentially it
true.
is.
Yeah, because we just sit together and then start making stupid shit up like that. I think mostly it comes from me, which makes... Well, no, you get some weird ones.
I
in.
do get some weird ones, but it is mostly you.
Yeah.
Because you are the biggest weirdo
Have
in
you
this
guys,
relationship.
Have
Yeah.
you guys seen Marty and Missy on TikTok?
No.
No.
Okay, I have to show you after this.
Oh my God, yes.
But it's like these two waiters in Brooklyn that have like made up an entire language, basically. Like the way that they talk is so particular. Somebody did
Okay,
a
I love
whole
it.
breakdown on like how their language works. So
I love it.
I love that shit. Maybe in 10 years that'll be us.
Yeah, we should start writing our dictionary.
We should actually.
Right?
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah.
fun. But it can't be called dictionary. It has to be something like stupid.
Yeah.
Named stupidly.
I can't think of it on
Dick.
the spot. Dick.
Dictionary.
Dick. That's really funny. Vampire, I cannot claim. That one came from my best friend Kaylee, who died by suicide. So
Yeah, but you've adopted it.
I did.
Yeah.
Because
I
we
mean,
would
that's
say
the
it
beauty
together,
of
but-
language. You
I know.
like take little pieces from other
And I
people.
loved
Yeah,
it so
you
much.
colonize other people's.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the beauty of colonization.
It's in our blood at this point.
It is.
God.
What our forefathers have stood for.
Well, we forgot to do this, but today's episode is episode 25.
I know we made it.
We made it to
Wow.
25.
We made it a quarter way.
Oh, and she got the button right.
Yeah,
Sorry, Misty.
that's still the only one that I know.
Yeah.
I love that Misty's like slowly listening to them, and by the time she gets up to these, she's gonna be like,
It's going to be in like 2 months, and she'll be like, oh,
It's gonna be like, oh, now I'm bored because
Right.
Anna knows all the buttons.
Now Anna knows all the buttons. I'm not listening anymore. No. Oh my God. Well, so this episode is titled "A Girl Named Holly Who Likes a Good Wood." This
Oh.
is all about.
for a second, I was like, because we did not talk. You mentioned.
I did mention
You did
it.
mention what you were going to name the episode, but then I was like, wait, is he reading his title of his story? Because I don't know.
No, it's a gay podcast, so we're talking about wood.
But
Is
if
that
you didn't get
is the category
Hollywood.
killed by? Oh, okay.
it, yeah,
These
killed
are
by
Hollywood.
wood.
Killed by wood. I mean, really, that's where my brain went.
Killed by a wooden
Yes.
branch.
Today's episode is about lumberjacks.
And like we're just like getting more and more niche with like the
Right.
We
I mean, we did
Killed
an
by
episode
tree
with
stump.
pumpernickel. Why couldn't it be
Yeah.
wood?
Do you remember Punker?
I do. How could I
Punker.
possibly forget?
I know
Right.
that was a weird one. But yes, a girl named Holly who likes a good wood.
Yeah. So it's all on Hollywood murders. So,
Yes.
but not just specifically people who died in Hollywood.
No.
But famous people who've been murdered.
Whoa.
There's a lot to unpack there.
So what? How can you?
So it's not
describe-
actually a girl named Holly,
It could be,
but
but it might not be.
Mine's
It's
not.
probably not. Mine's not either. What can you? How can you describe your story?
so I just have mine's more of a title.
Mine too.
And my title is Even Hugh Hefner Thought He Was a Creep.
Whoa.
I mean, that says a lot.
Yeah.
It does, exactly.
Mine is going to confuse you guys, but
They always do.
yep. Mine can be described as we've all had a Latin lover, have we not?
No.
I know. Latin lovers. You have not.
You had your little Costa Rican
I
boy
did have my Costa Rican rendezvous.
rendezvous in a parking lot.
Face.
Excuse me.
You're
It was
welcome.
not
Called
only
out.
in the parking lot. That was just one of them.
Not
Thank you.
only in the parking lot. There was more than one time, duh.
There was lots of moments. Well, there was enough. Okay. Anyway, and
Like,
he was
tell
like
us
3
more.
years younger.
Right.
No, I don't.
Listen, what happens at the Disney College program stays at the Disney College program.
More and more details. Just
See, this is the
slowly.
fun thing when you know somebody so well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, no. Brandon has this.
No.
Well, I was going to say, because that was the other one that we talked about when I made those comments and you wrote them down on your list.
Oh, yeah, I'm not going to say that on here.
No, you are not.
I have a list, an ongoing list of things Kevin has told me or said to me. This is probably a good time where I could read
You
some
can
of
actually
them.
read some of them.
And it's been like throughout the last 2 years.
Which really,
and I don't write everything, but
could you imagine if
it
you
is
had
currently
kept
up
it
to-
for all of the time we've known each other?
I mean, there would be a lot on here, but it would essentially, right now there's 38 things that I've written, some very inappropriate. But the first one, I'll read the first one, which I think is maybe one of my favorites. This is what started this list. He once said to me, "Spending time with you is awful."
Oh my God. Kevin.
The list is funny.
Spending time with you is awful.
Yeah.
Well, you made a poor choice of
I know.
marriage then.
Well,
There's so many in here.
there's a lot. I mean, it was all in fun, right?
Yeah.
It's funny. But what I told Brandon yesterday, when we were sitting in the park, having coffee, judging everybody running by us as we're sitting there overweight.
Yeah.
I started telling him that I love comedy, but I have figured out that I am offensive in comedy, and I don't know how to not be. So even in improv, the first thoughts that come into my mind are offensive,
Okay, yeah.
and I don't know how to regulate that.
You know, that reminds me
awful.
of, you're not like this, but I'm not going to say, I don't even remember this guy's name. The guy in our first improv class who just would say the most either mean or violent things that he thought he was being funny, but he would just immediately jump to something just not even offensive, and he was saying genuinely offensive things, but he would just, his first instinct would be "Oh well, I'm gonna kill you," and it would be what the fuck?
Yeah.
I do remember that, and I remember being this is scary.
No, literally, I was "Are you good?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you all right? Yeah. No.
So I didn't have much interactions with this man, but the first time I met him, he made some comment about what I was wearing and how we looked similar, and I was like, "Oh, you're a dick."
Yeah, no.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was the first thing he said to me. I'm like, "I don't even know your name. I still don't even know his name." Technically.
I don't remember his name.
I do. It starts with an M, but I'm not going to repeat it.
No idea.
Michael Martin Murphy.
Yes.
Okay, I remember now.
You remember now, yeah?
It may or may not have been one of those things.
Yes. Oh, shit. That's really funny. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But this list is, I told Brandon
Yeah.
at our 10-year wedding anniversary party that he should actually read it. But
Yeah.
some of them, he probably
I mean,
will
there's
skip
some
over.
funny ones. There's some really inappropriate ones, but there's some that are one that he said is, "I'm more than the sound of my farts." Or, "Hey,
I
daddy."
contain multitudes.
Right. He said, "Hey, daddy, he looks like an ex-felon for sure."
That's kind of hot.
It is. Let's be honest.
But then I
Yeah.
took out some names in here because I knew we would read these to people. So there's one in here that I don't know who he was talking about, but it's her names, and then I put blank with the big forehead. He was trying to describe someone.
Wow.
Mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, it goes into yeah.
Did you see her labia? I don't see. Some of them need context, but I love that I don't have the context.
And some of it's funny without the content. That's one's weird.
Did you
Yeah.
see her?
Or the one where you said, "I called you a fat fagoot," but with the actual FAG.
That one was really funny.
Yeah.
Brianna, our niece, was with us on that one. That was really funny.
On our recent trip from driving to Tampa to New York, because we drove up, we stopped at some gas station. It have you been to a Buc-ee's?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
it
yeah.
was essentially like a Buc-ee's, but before Buc-ee's was around. So it was a big store, but it was dead and gross inside.
Ew.
And Kevin, as I was passing him, because I was pumping gas, he went to the bathroom. We passed in between as he was going back to the car. I was going to the bathroom, and he said, "This place looks like Marjorie Taylor Greene would shop here."
And it did.
Yeah. So he's got
See
some
those
fun ones.
moments. I know, because I'm like, damn it, I used to be so funny, and then I started dialing it back because I'm like, I don't know how to not be offensive.
Well, and then we joked. I'm what did I say? Can't we all just go back to thinking everything was funny and then secretly crying about it on our own?
That was funny. That was yesterday in the park.
It was yesterday
Yeah.
in the park.
God, after we addressed, which we'll tell you after this, and if we know you personally, you can reach out because it's pretty bad. But it was one that we were talking about. We'll tell you after. Just remind us.
Okay.
Sorry,
It's pretty
friends.
bad.
The
That's
audience
a
is
lot
like,
of.
what?
Yeah, it's bad. But it's really funny, but also bad. Anyway, well, what's new with both of you? I know we just recorded, so there's not a lot, but anything that you guys would, any comments, questions, concerns?
Did I tell you guys that I joined a climbing gym the last time we
You
talked?
did.
Yeah.
That's like the only thing that
That's the only thing I'm doing.
I'm like, well,
only new
damn,
thing.
that was it.
Yeah, and I don't, no.
Yeah, we don't. We
just
friends. We
work.
just recorded like 2 days ago with each other, so we
Only
don't
so
really
much
have
can
to-
happen in 2 days.
I know.
I know, and not a lot happened actually, which is really great.
I know.
I love that for us.
Oh, we did decide to on Friday. One of our friends was going to go to a spa in Jersey, just right over on across the bridge, the George Washington Bridge.
Really beautiful spot.
And he invited us because they have like day passes where you can go and use the thermal pools and the saunas and everything. And it was 3:00 on Friday, and we just said, "Fuck it." We didn't tell our team, and we just left and didn't look at our phones the rest of the day,
Wow.
which is something very not like us.
Well, it's
especially
probably
me.
the-
I'm very neurotic, and I look
Yeah.
at my email to make sure that it's gone. I'm the type that I can't have like a ton of like unread emails. Like I have to go through everything. But we were just like, screw it. Let's just go and relax. And it was actually really fun.
No, it was
Nice.
great. That is, if you know, I mean, you know us, but if, especially at work, that we have never done that. Like, I don't think we've ever done that in the 7 years we've owned our company, ever.
No, we
Like, not
never
once.
have.
Wow.
So this time we were like, actually, I think we're in a little bit of a season of being like, just say yes. Did you ever see the movie with Jennifer Garner that's like, yes, something?
Yes Day.
Yes Day.
Where she's giving
the
her
one
kids.
with-
Jenna,
Garner.
I don't remember who else is
I
in it.
remember the one with that guy where he has to say yes to everything. Do you know what I'm talking about?
no.
I don't remember his name. We're probably thinking.
Wait, they're the parents and they have to say yes to everything their kids want to do, right?
Oh no, this
Oh,
one was
shoot.
just one guy.
Oh.
It's that guy who's like kind of lanky and weird looking.
There's a lot of them.
You're so right. And like that one.
My mind went to Ashton Kutcher, which is,
I'm thinking.
I don't know
I
why.
keep thinking of Jim Carrey. In
Jim
that-
Carrey.
Is it the one where he's like the lawyer?
Maybe.
But
been
it's,
so long
he couldn't
since I've
say
seen
yes,
it.
but like
It's Liar Liar.
yes.
He couldn't lie.
That's what I'm thinking is
Have you
liar,
ever seen
liar. We
Liar,
couldn't
Liar?
lie.
I don't know.
Oh my god, it's so good. It's not. He couldn't say yes. He didn't have to say yes to everything. He just couldn't lie.
He couldn't lie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, is it Jim Carrey? Now I have to look this up.
Oh jeez.
But essentially, we've been just saying yes to things
yes.
I love that.
and not allowing ourselves our own work-life balance a little bit. I guess maybe
I
tiny
mean, I
bit.
guess.
But it was cool. It's called Sojo Spa Club.
Yeah.
And it was really clean for a place that has like
beautiful.
half
Yes,
naked
Man.
people.
Oh, it's called Yes Man, which is Jim Carrey.
Oh,
So we are
yeah.
thinking of the same movie.
Well, no, that one's
Same-
It's same concept, but it's
Yeah.
different. Yeah, this one was Jennifer Garner and
Liar Liar was like in the 90s.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's like a lawyer, and he has a son that he's treating like shit,
Yeah.
like
Yes,
a lot
man.
of dads do. But that's good. But yeah, no, the Sojo Spa Club really, really. We are not influencers, so we're just saying it because we liked it.
Yeah.
I mean,
But if
said
you
it,
want
I
to
didn't.
sponsor us, if anybody happens to be listening, I'm just kidding. No, they're probably not. But it was really clean, like for being in a place that's like, I don't like water parks and shit. Anything with half naked
Yeah,
people in
that's
water, it
gross.
can get really gross. But it was like spotless clean.
It was really weird.
And they do like massages and all these other treatments and stuff too.
Our friend Stefan went and got a massage. She said it was amazing. And I don't love massages. I don't like being touched, actually, which is really interesting. But if I'm going to get a massage,
Which is really interesting.
it is. Because it is, right? No? You would think I do, because sometimes I'm like, hi. Like, I maybe.
Oh, because you touch a shoulder.
Okay, yeah.
Somebody touched, I don't know. Anyway, I don't remember what we were talking about.
Your massage.
Massage. Do you
And
like
you
massages?
liked it or you didn't? I like massages. I don't like the massages I've had in Manhattan because they do it too hard. And then when I'm like, hey, can you let up? They're like, oh, yeah. And then they continue. And I'm like, what?
The pressure stays the same.
You're
Yeah.
like, I'm bleeding internally right now.
No,
Could you
literally.
please fucking
I feel like
stop?"
I'm being beaten to a pulp. And I'm like, I actually came here to relax, not to get beaten up.
You have burst my spleen by
Yeah.
doing that thing.
Yeah.
Turning
I'm not-
violet.
Right. I'm not actually coming to like long-term release, like
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I'm
You're
just
like
coming
going
to like
for that.
feel nice and
Yeah.
relaxed
Yeah.
for an hour.
For that moment. Well, I do like it hard. It sounds really weird too. But I do. But I also like when they massage your hip or on your upper thigh. But every time I go, they do not go past like where my knee is. And I'm like, that's pretty.
Well, we haven't gone to any places here yet.
No. No.
But we went to one in Vermont, which was dainty for sure. And we went to one in Georgia. There's this cute little winery in Georgia that we went to. And the guy came up to like your mid-thigh and you're like, could you go up higher? And he didn't.
And
well,
I'm
while the
like-
woman that was doing me was going right up to my cheek
Like your
too.
cheek, yeah. I'm like, I don't want you to touch my balls or ass. You don't need to finger me or anything weird like that. Just like massage normally, and I just can't.
Finger me again.
I don't.
You don't need to finger me.
I don't ever want to.
You
do
don't
be
need to
clear-
massage my insides. Just
Well,
massage
next
my
time,
hip.
just say that. Just say, you don't have to finger me.
Yeah.
They're like, get up, please. Sexual harassment.
I just need you to rub out my hip.
Ooh, rub out may not be the right.
Maybe not. I don't know.
either.
We're just
Yeah.
making this worse.
I don't know.
Anyways.
Anyway. Well, I guess that's what we talked about today.
So this is why when people say your podcast is a mess, but it's great, it's because of this.
This is why.
We typically never have notes going into this, what we're going to talk about. And today we're like, let's just figure it out.
Unless it's like we want to, like last time with Gypsy Rose, which felt a little forced. So really, we just need to not do that.
Right.
Well,
Well,
scabbing.
yeah.
Yeah, just gabbing. I love that you use that term.
Yeah.
And you're like a is that a?
Well,
That's
now
like
it's kind of evolved into yapping.
Oh. What are
Like
some
a
of
dog?
These? Oh.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Do
of new
you
terms.
speak Japanese?
Wow. Wait, what are some other Gen Z terms that we're not aware of? Which are a lot, I'm sure.
I don't know. My brain is blank.
Well, now there's like the Gen Alpha terms coming out.
Well, those are insane.
They're weird, like skibbity.
Skibbity toilet.
Oh, something Ohio. Like, I don't know. I see people explaining it to
is
people and I still don't get it.
Yeah, Riz is starting to come into Gen Z. Like it's making its way.
It's Riz?
Riz.
I don't know what Riz is. What does that mean?
It's like swag.
Swag? Like
somebody's got
swagger?
swagger.
Like somebody's got swag?
Yes.
My mind went to swag as in marketing.
Collateral.
Oh my God.
Because that's
Here's
our
your branded
life.
pen.
No, it's like
Riz.
yeah. You've got Riz.
Oh, okay. I can like that one.
Riz
Like you've
is
got
fine.
Riz.
Don't
Like,
just don't try it.
no one's gonna
You're
tell
too
me
old
that.
to try it.
Literally, no one's gonna call me and tell me that I have Riz. It's never gonna happen. Yeah, because I don't. So,
I don't.
all right. Well, go register to vote. Thanks.
Oh, that was a quick shift in plug.
I just saw it. Register to vote. Visit vote.org. Thank you. Vote blue. Okay. Should we go into
You
our
wanna dive
episode?
in? Yeah. Who goes? I go first today.
Yes, you do.
In mine, I'm excited for yours. Yours is going to be a little bit more intense than mine, I think. So I'm excited to do mine and then jump right into you.
Mine's gay.
Into yours?
Okay, Brandon, I'm gonna go.
Need it? That? Okay.
Wait, I missed it.
I said that we could jump right
you.
into you, but I meant to say yours.
no.
Just wait until I leave.
Anna's like,
Yeah, Anna's
we're
like,
in your apartment.
please.
This is awkward.
And we're clean boys, and I'm not there. So no, thank you.
Yeah, you need to shower.
If you have booty.
What?
That's not the time to go silent.
I was gonna say
you have booty.
If you have booty sex, but that felt weird, right? Isn't that weird?
I mean, just what are you trying to say? Let's just get through
If
this
you're
sentence,
gay
please.
and you
keep going.
and you do butt
When two
stuff-
men love each other.
no, if you do butt stuff, you have to clean it.
Yeah.
So if you don't, gross.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
This
Educational
is a
moment.
PSA.
this was an
To
educational.
your gay
moment,
men, if you have dirty butts, don't have sex.
or you'll get giardia,
Oh, well,
Oh God.
at least in your mouth, like our friends in Provincetown.
yeah. You know what happens.
Go back to episode 24 for more on that.
That was rough.
If you're just tuning in,
Yeah.
thank you. Welcome.
Yeah, that's
Don't forget to rate and subscribe.
Yes.
All right, let's
on
just
that note,
dive in because now this is where the mess comes in.
it is messy. All right, Brandon, you go today, right?
Yes.
You're going first. What's the title of yours again?
Even Hugh Hefner thought he was a creep.
Wow.
Yeah. All right.
My story today is about a 20-year-old model and actress destined for stardom. One in which the notable Hugh Hefner would go on the record stating, "There is still a great tendency for this thing to fall into the classic cliche of small town girl comes to Playboy, comes to Hollywood, life in the fast lane. That's not what really happened. A very sick guy saw a meal ticket in his connection to power, whatever slipping away, and it was that made him kill her," which he's essentially describing what he's saying didn't happen. But in a short period of time, this ice cream shop attendant's life would go from being the first Canadian named Playboy's Playmate of the Year to her body being found lying naked in a bloodstained room of the house she once owned with her ex-husband. My story today is on the murder of Dorothy Stratten.
Dorothy.
Right? I wrote that a little bit different. Remember
You
me
actually
saying?
did.
I'm going to write it different. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun,
Okay,
dun.
so who was Dorothy? So born February 28th, 1960 in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, Dorothy Ruth Stratten, or better known
Stop.
as her stage name, Dorothy Stratten, came from a pretty normal family.
Dorothy
You
Ruth.
told me to stop and I didn't.
Hoog. Yeah, you didn't. Ruth.
Stratten.
Hoog
Stratten.
Stratten. That
Yeah.
sounds like a Saint Olaf
Yeah. Well,
name.
her parents, Simon and Nellie, were immigrants from the Netherlands, which makes sense for their name.
Oh, who's and booze?
And they had 3 children in total.
Boozing.
Who's and booze and Bosenberger? Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Yep.
Anyways, that was random. They had 3 children in total, Dorothy being the oldest, then brother John and sister Louise being the youngest. When Dorothy turned 18, she exuded the allure of Marilyn Monroe and dreamed of stardom. Despite her part-time job at a local Dairy Queen and attending Centennial High School in, I don't even know how to say that.
Coquitlam.
Coquitlam. Coquitlam. Sorry if you live there, I can't pronounce
I
it,
just said Coquitlam.
but I don't know if that's correct.
It's correct.
Okay, that's correct.
I actually don't know. I'm not sure.
So she had no idea that her life was about to undergo a dramatic transformation, all because of one customer dropping in for some soft serve ice cream.
Wow.
The customer being 26-year-old Paul Snyder, also known at the time as the Jewish pimp.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and I'll get into that.
Oh,
So
great.
Paul was born April 15th of 1951 and grew up in the East End of Vancouver, which according to Google is one of Vancouver's oldest neighborhoods, but also has high levels of drug use, poverty, homelessness, and crime. When Paul was a young boy, his parents split up and he dropped out of school after the 7th grade. All of this ended up steering him into an obvious life of hustling. As he got older, he grew from a skinny boy to bulking up and growing your typical 70s porn stash.
Hot.
Yeah. I mean, he honestly wasn't unattractive.
Was he? Did you see a picture of him?
Yeah, of course I saw pictures. He looked
like a 70s.
he looked like a Jewish pimp. Like it was very
I'm not sure what that
clear.
looks like, but
You'll see it.
okay.
This drastic change of appearance made women more attracted to him, especially as he started to go out to the nightclubs. Because of the attention he would get and how he would wear a Star of David necklace, his friends coined the name Jewish pimp.
I wonder if he had a super hairy chest for that Jewish.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Canadian press even described him. I have them in there. Even described him as a man with a penchant for tailored suits, floppy hats, and flashy cars. Throughout his life,
Floppy hats.
yeah,
That's really interesting. Yeah.
yeah.
That's hot.
Throughout his life, he was a hustler. Yeah, like what is a floppy hat?
I mean, I
like
don't
a
know.
fedora?
Yeah, like
I'm picturing like a beach hat, but that makes no sense.
I kind
know.
of am too. Like the one from Sex and the City with like Kim Cattrall, where she's like
Yeah.
trying not to see the naked man.
That's exactly it.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Throughout his life, he was again a hustler. He was even involved with a gang called the Rounder Crowd. Pimped out women, was a club promoter, and tried to be a drug dealer.
He sounds amazing.
Yeah. By the time he met Dorothy at Dairy Queen, he was looking for his next break. Seeing the gorgeous woman in front of him, he was eager to learn more about her. One of his friends even recalled him saying, "That girl can make me a lot of money."
Wow.
Yeah. So Dorothy was quickly smitten and intrigued by his charm, especially with all the gifts he would end up giving her and the home cooked meals he would make for them in his luxury apartment. In hindsight, this treatment was in a sense grooming. He was grooming her to be able to take advantage of her, something that he'd done before with women that he pimped out, and he knew he could do it with her. And to start, he wanted to get her on Playboy. So from what I've seen, everything happened really fast because by August 1978, Paul got Dorothy on a plane and she was headed down to Los Angeles for her first test shots at Playboy. And her first shoot being a nude shoot.
I wonder how many women this was true with.
Oh,
that
probably
were
a
in
lot.
the Playboy, ethos.
Oh, I mean,
Like,
we read, so at our company, we have a book club, and one of our first books we read was the Holly
that's
Madison
right. We
book.
did read that one. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't read all of it, but I read like the most traumatic parts, which was the beginning where they talked about how awful they were, which is kind of funny that Hugh Hefner thought he was a creep because Hugh Hefner was the biggest creep. He would take advantage of all these women. They'd have weird group sex rituals with him.
Well,
and
they
he would
pitted all the
control
women
them.
against each other too. It was fucked up.
Yeah, it's just gross. But Dorothy told a Canadian TV show once that it took him a while to talk me into agreeing to taking some test pictures. I'd never taken my clothes off for anyone. I didn't know. It took me about 2 weeks to agree. Now, these test shots were for her submission into the Playboy's Great Playmate Hunt competition that they had. And Playboy loved her. Marilyn Grabrowski, a former West Coast photo editor who worked at Playboy at the time, was quoted saying, "She was a total babe in the woods. I can't remember another Playmate being that. I don't want to say naive, inexperienced, unused to her surroundings, and not used to thinking that she was really beautiful." A Playboy photographer, Mario Casilli, was also quoted in a 2020 interview saying, "I called her a woman child.
Oh my God.
When you looked at her, she
Ew.
was a total lady. She had the statuesque look, but when you talked to her, she was still a little girl." Which is gross, right? And I did read in another article, I removed it from here, but it kind of goes with the storyline that the age of consent in Canada for anything like that is 19, and I believe it was 19 and she was 18, so she had to get her mother to consent for her as well. So like this was literally a child. So you're calling her a woman child because she was a woman child.
I don't understand the attraction that men have
for underage.
Yes,
It's disgusting.
I cannot comprehend.
No, it's not all men. You're not all awful,
but it's
most
a
of you
great
are.
deal of them.
Yeah.
That have this weird, I don't know, attraction to children.
It's disgusting.
And it weirds me out. I just do not, even as a gay man, there is zero, and we talked about twinks last time, there is a zero attraction for me to unhairy older men.
Yeah.
I have like zero, maybe because I have daddy issues, who knows? But I just don't, I don't get
No, I don't get
this
it either.
stuff.
No.
But we live in a society that says all gay, trans people, non-binary people are the
all they're
ones that are
doing is-
predators taking advantage of children. When
Yeah.
you literally have people like this taking advantage of children.
I mean, they're just projecting because they want to hide their own fucking
Exactly, they want to
deviant
place the blame on
lifestyles.
someone else.
Anyway.
Anyways,
Go off.
all right. So
If you don't know our position on this shit. Anyway.
So from here, everything changed for Dorothy. First, the two, Dorothy and Paul, moved from Vancouver to Los Angeles, where they got married only after 18 months of being together. And then 2 months later, after they got married, Dorothy's Playboy career took off. However, Playboy had her change her name to Stratten, so it wasn't even her idea. Playboy told her to.
So they ended up getting married, and his first initial, literally whatever, is that she can make me a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that all feels very intentional.
100% is
Yeah.
all intentional. He
Gross.
was going to take advantage of her. And then by 1980, she was officially announced as the Playmate of the Year at Playboy. So she went from ice cream scooping, and then within 2 years being the Playmate of the Year, which is in the Playboy world at that time a huge accomplishment. So during this time, she also started to grow her acting career
Wow.
while working as a bunny at the Century City Playboy Club. She ended up being booked for a few small TV roles and a movie in movie parts, such as Fantasy Island, Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, and a sci-fi movie called Galaxina.
Sounds like a porn.
Right, it does. Throughout the 1978 and 1980, Dorothy became increasingly popular, and Paul started to fade away a little bit, which didn't do well for somebody who loved all of that attention. So Playboy also set up Dorothy with a professional manager and a money manager, leaving Paul out of any monetary gain, which, again, he did not like. So because Paul was obviously a sleazeball, he also undoubtedly started cheating on her. A couple of articles I read had a quote from another Playmate of the Year, Gina Kyo.
I saw Knuff. Which
It
is,
looks like Knuff.
Yeah.
It's Keough. I really need to learn how to pronounce things. So she said, He would be in the grotto, so the grotto being in the Playboy mansion, trying to make out with other girls, and you have the most beautiful girl at the mansion. So she's basically saying that she would see him cheating on his beautiful girlfriend or wife at that time. So at this point, both Paul and Dorothy were definitely getting over each other, and people around them, around her, knew that he was bad for her. So even Hugh Hefner didn't like him again. He was quoted in saying, "I said to her that he had a pimp-like quality about him," which, again, so did you fucking weirdo. This is also around the time when Paul was introduced to Soman Benjry, also known as Steve, who was the founder of Chippendales. They hit it off, and Paul ended up becoming a founding partner with Steve and the Chippendales.
Okay,
so there's like a whole Hulu not documentary, but TV show that they built where Dorothy and Paul are in it, because it's even known that it was Dorothy's idea to dress the male strippers in tux collars and cuffs.
Well, what's interesting too is that Soman Banerjee, there's a whole murder.
There's
surrounding
a whole thing
Chippendales as well, which actually is him.
Damn.
Yeah. So there's that fun correlation between the two.
The fun.
I mean,
really
fun in this.
So
it's
fun.
not fun, but
Well, no, it's interesting
Anyways.
though that's kind of the company.
Yeah.
The company you keep matters. So
100%.
yeah. Anyway.
So by the next January, Dorothy's career was still thriving, and she got her biggest casting yet, playing Dolores Martin, acting alongside Audrey Hepburn and John Ritter in the 1981 film They All Laughed.
John Ritter was also murdered. Wow.
Yeah. Directed by Oscar-winning director Peter Bogdanovich, who also directed movies like Paper Moon, The Thing Called Love, and She's Funny That Way. Dorothy was obviously ecstatic.
Yeah.
As they started to film, everybody loved her. So castmate Colleen Camp once told ABC News, Dorothy was just breathtakingly beautiful. There was something very otherworldly about being with her. Time would stop and you just felt like you were in a frozen moment.
Wow.
Which is like a beautiful thing to say about someone.
Yeah.
Director Peter was also captivated by Dorothy. However, this wasn't his first encounter with her, as he often would frequent the Playboy Mansion. It's even said that he wrote the role specifically for her. Eventually, the two fell in love. Dorothy spent much of the next 5 months filming in Peter's hotel suite. And at the same time, Paul and Dorothy's relationship was really rocky, so much that by June 1980, she asked for a physical and financial separation. But the whole time, Paul knew something was up with Dorothy and Peter. He even hired a private detective, Mark Goldstein, to follow Dorothy even after the separation.
So what's crazy is that it was fine that he was able to cheat, right? But God forbid she goes. And,
for sure. But he also was looking at her for financial gain. He was... he didn't have a green card. He was living off of her.
Yeah, she was a
There
monetary
was all
asset.
of these things that his life depended on having her, but then he treated her like garbage. So I just don't get men.
So real.
Yeah. So I have, however, knowing that he had a cash flow issues now that Dorothy was not around, he had to look for his next meal ticket, which was a teenage grocery store clerk named Patty Lorman.
Another child.
Yep. In hopes of making her the next Playmate. Patty eventually went on record and made a note of how Paul was at the time, and he said, Paul was distraught. He was sad. He was like, gosh, she didn't even tell me she loved me or kiss me. There were times when he would talk to me and he would start crying. He would sit on the couch and play his guitar, and he had wrote songs to Dorothy. So like he was sad, but yeah, no, he was obsessed.
He was obsessed.
It was also at this time when Paul was looking around to purchase a gun and allegedly borrowed a .38 revolver from a friend. And on the night of July 31st, it's alleged that Paul went into the home of Paul and Dorothy and hid in the shadows with the intent of shooting anyone he saw. After a few hours, he grew impatient and left. Soon after, Paul's friend asked for his gun back, and Paul needed to find a new one. On August 8th, Dorothy and Paul decided to meet. Paul hoped for reconciliation because he wanted to get back with her, but Dorothy had other plans, telling Paul that she was in love with Peter, which only angered Paul, and especially to hear her say that she just wanted a divorce at that time. Mm-hmm. So on August 9th, Peter headed to a local gun store. Unfortunately, since Paul was not a U.S. citizen, he couldn't purchase
Peter
one.
or Paul?
Paul. See, I told you this yesterday. Do you remember me saying I went through my whole thing and then realized that I changed their names. I
no.
had to go back and change Paul to Peter and Peter to Paul. Okay, so
Jesus.
Paul headed to a local a local gun store. Of course, they had to be like P names too.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
They're like basically the same name.
100%. Yeah.
So Paul was not a U.S. citizen, and they would not sell him anything. So looking into the classifieds, he found somebody selling a 12-gauge shotgun, and he jumped at the purchase. So still going through divorce proceedings, Dorothy wanted to make sure that she took care of Paul in their settlement because she didn't know that he was doing weird things.
He's like, I'm going to kill you.
Yep. Being that he helped her get into Hollywood, she felt like she owed it to him because she obviously sounded like a decent human being. According to a friend and actress, Roseanne Caton Walden, she felt that this whole blossoming, this whole new world that came to her because of Paul. So on August 14th, 1980, Dorothy went back to the home that the couple once shared, now home to Paul, Patty, and their housemate, Stephen Kushner, to negotiate their divorce, despite the fact that both Peter and Hugh Hefner told her not to go that day. Yeah. So Patty, knowing that Dorothy would be in around 11:45 a.m., decided to head out for the day and did not come back till that evening. Stephen, on the other hand, had spent the night at his girlfriend's house and was out all day and did not come back until later that evening. So by the time he got home, he assumed Dorothy and Paul were still meeting, as he saw Dorothy's car still in the driveway and her purse was on the stairs, open on the stairs inside the home. As he made his way inside, he saw Patty, and they waited for the other two to come out because they noticed that Paul's bedroom door was shut. So they turned on the TV and hung out in the living room. After a few hours have passed, the two got increasingly confused as to what was going on because it was roughly around 12:30 a.m. of the next morning and they hadn't seen or heard any of them. I did see a note that there was even somebody heard the phone ringing inside the room and nobody picked up. So they were like, well, this is weird. So they headed to Paul's room, walking up to the closed door. Neither of them, again, heard anything. After they knocked and there was no answer, Stephen decided to open up the bedroom door. And neither of them were ready to see what was behind. So first, they saw Paul laying naked on the ground, and trigger warning, missing half of his head.
Shotgun.
Dorothy was farther back in the room with obvious gunshot wounds to her face.
Dorothy.
So Patty was quoted in a 2020 video saying, "It looked like it was a horror movie, a staged horror movie, like mannequins and fake blood. That's a picture that never goes away, a mental picture that's stuck in here forever," which is really fucking sad because you just made trauma for other people for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
After the investigation, detectives were able to determine that Paul had raped Dorothy before shooting her in the face with his 12-gauge shotgun. Once finished, and I think like an hour or so after he killed her, he turned the gun on himself and died by suicide. Hence why he was missing his head. Dorothy was buried at the Pierce Brothers Westwood Village Memorial Park and Mortuary in Los Angeles, the same place where Marilyn Monroe, Hugh Hefner, Farrah Fawcett, Betty Page, and many more other Hollywood celebrities are buried.
Is that the one we went to?
I think it is.
I think it is.
Yeah. So Paul was quoted in the Village Voice after her death saying, "Dorothy Stratten was a gifted and intelligent actress as she was beautiful, and she was very beautiful indeed in every way imaginable, most particularly in her heart. She and I fell in love during our picture and had planned to be married as soon as her divorce was final. The loss to her mother and father, her sister and brother, to my children, to her friends, and to me is larger than we can calculate. But there is no life Dorothy's touched that's not been changed for the better through knowing her, however briefly. Dorothy looked at the world with love and believed that the people were good down deep. She was mistaken, but it was among the most generous and notable errors we can make." And I don't have it in here, but I saw a couple different articles where Paul also came out and basically said that the lifestyle of Playboy kind of aided into the fact that she was murdered.
Oh, sure.
Hugh Hefner came out against that as well. So there's like some strife behind those two.
Of course he did. That was his business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is also noted that in an ABC article saying that Peter continued to take care of Dorothy's family for the years after her death because he was going to be marrying her. It would be part of what you would whatever.
Yeah.
So eventually, Peter got close with Dorothy's sister Louise, and after 8 years after her death, the two ended up getting married.
Oh, that's
They
cute.
did end up getting divorced as well, which I didn't have in here, but in like 2001 they got divorced. But they ended up getting married and living together from that. Wow. So that is the story of Dorothy
Stratten?
Hugh Stratten, or better
but
named
her,
as Dorothy Stratten.
yeah, her name sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Well, she was beautiful too.
Yeah. Dorothy
Super sad.
Stratten.
Just over the fact that this one sleazeball of a man got butt hurt because
Dorothy Stratten.
she wasn't going to be with him anymore.
God, why do it just? It's all control.
Yeah,
Which is just disgusting. So, wow, that was interesting.
yeah,
Poor Dorothy.
yeah. Even Hugh Hefner thought he was a creep.
That says a lot.
A really beautiful tribute, though.
Yeah.
The paragraph that you read.
Oh yeah,
Oh, the quote. Yeah, who was that quote by?
Peter, the director.
Oh,
of the
Peter.
movie.
Yeah, in the Village Voice.
Oh, and I put Paul was quoted. See, I fucked up.
But
a
I
lot.
think you said
was
Peter.
quoted. Did I say Peter?
I think
hope
you said Peter, right?
Because that was all from Peter.
That quote was from Peter, the Village Voice
definitely
one, where
not Paul.
No, Paul was.
Paul-
I don't think Paul said
Paul
that.
didn't have half his face, so
No,
he wouldn't have done that.
Just like, don't do the first part. Just do the last half.
Yeah, just kill yourself. Done.
Yeah.
We
That's
don't
often
condone
what I
it,
think
but-
of these stories.
Yeah.
I do too.
Anytime it ends with the murderer killing themselves, I'm like, you could have skipped that part.
You could have
Yeah.
just killed yourself.
Like-
yeah, like,
You dirtbag.
ay, ay, ay. Well, wow. Good episode. I mean,
All right.
story.
I'm
You're
like, are we
and
not
we're
doing
done.
yours?
Goodbye. Wow.
All right, are you ready for yours?
Yes, I am. Guys, again, my title is We've All Had a Latin Lover, Have We Not? So my first question to you both is, have you had a Latin lover?
Have we not?
You have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
For sure.
I have not.
You have not. No.
Have I had a?
No.
I mean, that one person in Key West might have been Latin.
Yeah, I think he
But
was.
it was not a lover.
No, he was not to love. He just loved on your.
Okay. My parents watch this.
Yep. Anyway. Okay. So, yes.
My stories are a lot more PC than yours, though.
I think your whole family understands that at this point. That who I am is
I'm
not
innocent.
PC.
I'm
I'm just a
Not
baby.
anymore.
Just a baby.
Wait, do the mean one now. Because she's like, I'm just a baby. Then she's like, I'm just a baby.
Oh, that's terrifying. I don't know if I've heard the
Yes,
angriest.
that's the second part of it. And then the mom's like,
Terrified.
You guys not seen that? All right. Anyway.
No.
Okay. Picture it. We're taking the Golden Girls route here.
Sicily,
Sicily. No.
1954.
So picture it. Wednesday, October 30th, 1968. Okay. Are we picturing it?
Picturing it.
The number one song at the time was Hey Jude by the Beatles.
Oh,
The most popular movie was Commandos, which was directed by Armando Crispino. Jackie Kennedy married Estado Onassis on the island of Scorpios, I don't know, just 5 years after JFK's assassination, which is quite some time
Yeah.
after your partner is murdered, right?
There's a lot of lead into this episode.
Just wait. And
Context.
the Nobel Prize for Chemistry was awarded to Lars Onsager.
Ooh, Lars. Onsager.
Lars.
I love Lars Onsager.
Oh, he's my favorite.
It reminds me of that movie, Lars, the Netflix, the Eurovision,
Oh.
Lars.
What-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So it was a new and exciting era in Hollywood. Hollywood was actually now referred to as the New Hollywood. And it was actually just 38 years post the silent film era. Did either of you take any film history classes in art school?
Yes, I did.
I'm sure.
And it was in a very dark room in the early morning hours, and I fell asleep every single episode. I still passed.
That
But,
makes sense.
I mean, when you're watching silent black and white
Yeah.
films in the dark,
I did it too.
no, I know.
And I didn't.
I don't know
fall
how
asleep.
you didn't fall asleep. It was
I
so.
loved them.
I actually don't think that I took a film history class, which
Really?
is insane.
It was interesting from what I remember from being in the class. It was
I
interesting.
loved my film history class. I did it at SVA here in New York, and it was in a theater too. It was great.
I don't know about your art school. My art school, I had to take like a stupid amount of art history classes.
Yes, I did. You did one of them
did-
for me.
I think I might have done 2 of them for you.
No, it was just one.
Maybe that's why.
Because your writing style I couldn't deal with, so I had to take over again. Brandon did help me with some schooling.
The same writing style I use for all of my episodes here that are amazing.
Yeah.
Why am I holding the microphone too? I'm literally sitting here like this.
You're taking control.
I am. It's my house.
I just want it in my mouth.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how that would be.
I need that in
That's
my
fine.
mouth now.
All right, so New Hollywood, so 38 years post the silent film era, and Hollywood was beaming with incredible stars like John Wayne, Doris Day, Elizabeth Taylor, Cary Grant, Rock Hudson, Jack Lemmon, Paul Newman, Julie Andrews, Sean Connery, and Elvis, and clearly more.
Guys, how old is Julie Andrews?
She's quite.
Is she going to be with us for much longer?
She is. I think she's going to be like a Betty White.
I mean,
I think she's in her 80s. No,
she's old, but I feel like she's not too old.
she's 88.
She's 88.
That's actually. Yeah, that's
She's
up there.
so old.
Yeah.
I mean, she's old.
she's so beautiful.
I hope she lives forever.
I love her.
I hope she lives into her
The
hundreds
hills are alive.
with Julie Andrews
Yes.
at this time. So suffice to say, Hollywood was where you went to be somebody at this time.
If you want to be somebody.
If you want to go somewhere, you better wake up and go to Hollywood.
Yeah. And pay attention.
But
And don't get murdered.
as the streets of Hollywood glitzed and glammed, a 69-year-old actor known as the Latin Lover of Hollywood, who lived just outside of West Hollywood in his Laurel Canyon home, invited two hustlers into his home for what he thought would be an exciting gay sexual encounter.
It's always the hustlers.
Unfortunately, he wouldn't live through the night
Oh,
because those hustlers were assholes.
they didn't love him.
No. So this is the story of Ramon Navarro. He was a
Ramon.
Mexican actor who in 1917 began his career in American silent films, quickly becoming a leading man and one of the top actors in the 1920s and early 1930s films. With all of his fame and wealth, none of that would save the 69-year-old from spending his last hours being tortured and ultimately murdered.
Oh my gosh.
Jesus Christ.
God, this is going to be a fucked up story, isn't it? I know it.
And that creative writing was genius.
It was.
Thank you.
It was beautiful.
Thank you.
He's
some
like,
of
that's the end of my story.
And that's it.
That's it.
He was
Good luck.
murdered. Great.
Some of my sources were Wikipedia, the LA Times, GoldenGlobes.com. What?
I thought you were about to say Golden Girls.
I should have. IMDb, Walk of Fame, TCN.com, Out.com, and HotCorn.com.
Hot corn.
What?
Is that reputable?
It matched.
Move over, CNN. Hot corn's coming.
Shut the fuck up. That was funny.
That made my head hurt.
This is my research project that's featuring hot corn.
You can imagine how my high school papers went.
Your citations.
Yeah. Where did you get this? I don't
corn.
know. Actually, we didn't use the internet. We didn't use the internet for research papers.
The internet wasn't around in my day.
We only had like 2 computers in our library with
Yeah.
internet, and we could not use them as sources. I remember our English teacher being like, "You cannot
Those are
use the
not
internet."
reputable sources.
I remember that too, yeah.
Yeah, so we had
You
to get
only had
the
to use the encyclopedia.
encyclopedias
Yeah.
or newspaper.
Britannica.
By my
clippings,
time, we
yeah.
could use the internet, but we were not allowed to use Wikipedia.
Oh, well, that
Yep.
makes sense because I'm so sweaty.
I mean, Wikipedia's not the most reliable, but it's really good to
It's a good starting
review.
point.
It's a good starting
and
point.
then you go to
Yeah.
you can go to the
'Cause that's-
sources
yeah,
that
that's-
Yes.
Wikipedia cites
Yeah,
Yes.
because
too.
that's what I tend to do. I'll look at Wikipedia to see what
Yeah.
are the stories,
Yeah.
and then I'll go and look at the articles.
I,
that are attached.
I find all the articles, which is like a string of 10, and then I start going through each of them, and then I'll jump around and like confirm
Jump
some stuff.
around.
I know. Okay, let me dive into my list here. So I want to talk about Ramon Navarro, which I love his name. Ugh. So he was born Jose Ramon Gil Samaniego in Durango, Mexico, on February 6th of 1899. Right? 1899. Oh my goodness. So
close.
his parents were
Why did you
either
say it like that? 1899. Oh my goodness,
because it's a long time ago.
it is.
He was born in the 1800s. How many people do you know now that were born in the 1800s? None,
no
because
one.
they're dead,
They're dead.
right? I mean, maybe somewhere. Where's the country where people live like really long? Like is it China, Japan? Like some of the
here.
There's a
oldest
couple
living
of like
people.
centenarian.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
or like in their 120s or some shit.
I don't know.
If I'm not operating well, I'd rather be dead.
If I'm not operating well. What does that
No,
even
if I'm like bound to a bed and can't live much. Right? Okay, anyway.
Okay.
His parents were...
That was a weird turn of events. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so his parents were Lenore or Eleanor. I couldn't find which one was correct. And Dr. Mariano in Samaniego. Siquerios. They just have really long names in Mexico, by the way.
Yeah.
So his dad, Dr. Mariano, was a prosperous dentist. So they actually had acquired quite a bit of wealth in Mexico. Ramon was the oldest of 13 children, although 4 of his siblings actually died in childhood, which is really sad.
Yeah.
But like it was the early 1900s. So in 1913, his whole family immigrated to the U.S. As part of the wave of Mexican refugees that were escaping the Mexican Revolution. If you don't know about the Mexican Revolution, you should take a history class.
Period.
And also, I don't know.
Okay, so speak for yourself.
Thanks.
It's like, I don't remember learning about that in history.
I don't actually.
U.S. history doesn't care about any other
About any
country.
other
The problem
countries.
is there's
Yeah.
too many revolutions.
There's a lot of
We
revolutions.
can't know them all. We can't
I
possibly.
know. So, anyway, his family settled in L.A., where Ramon could pass actually for white. So that's when once they were in L.A., he tried to break into the show business. So he actually has two second cousins that are actresses as well, pretty big at the time, Dolores Del Rio and Andrea Palma, who, if you look both of them, I'd be like, oh yeah, like they're big actresses in the black and white era. So he was a ballet dancer, a piano teacher, and for a while he held a job as a singing waiter. Which I'm not going to lie, I dreamt about that for a minute.
Being a singing waiter.
Oh,
All 3 of
God.
those.
I dreamt about the singing waiter thing the first time that I went to Ellen Stardust Diner.
We've
And now
never
the
done
idea of doing that actually makes me want to die.
Yes.
Like,
I'd rather
imagine,
be on
like-
Broadway.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
imagine like a customer being like, "This waffle tastes like shit," and then you have to be like, "The hell?" You know what I mean? Like, ew.
I mean, defying
Suck.
gravity would mean a lot more at that point, you know?
Yeah,
Oh my God, yeah, that one
that would
would.
be traumatizing.
I just don't like people enough, I think, in those scenarios because
Yeah.
people are so rude.
Well, you can't also just be a waiter.
No, I
ever.
tried it. I tried it once. I lasted 2 months and it ended with me basically yelling at somebody for demanding ranch dressing because they needed it. And I was like, you want it.
Which
you
I
don't
think we
need it.
did talk about it
Yeah.
on the episode
I think we did too.
before.
Yeah.
Well,
But
yeah,
it's still
I mean,
good to reiterate Kevin hates people.
Yeah.
Well, that's not true. I don't
it's
like
really
mean,
easy.
rude people.
Yeah, it's really easy to hate people.
It
in
is really
that
easy to hate
environment.
It is. I
Because
just
people are awful to waiters.
Yes.
People
But I
suck.
am working on something right now, and that is that I read something recently that everyone views and experiences the world differently. So I can't put my own expectations on other people for how they should treat people.
Yes.
So
Are
if
you
I hold the
talking
door
about
open,
empathy?
I'm trying.
You just found this out that people are different.
It's like us walking down the road and this woman in her clunky ass shoes, and I was the first one to be like, "What's happening?
This is weird.
This is weird." I tried. It was a whole 2 blocks, and I held it in, and then my bad thoughts took over.
Your bad
So-
thoughts.
Yep. Okay, so now we're back. Ramon. He eventually became a film extra in 1917. So he kept working as an extra for the next 5 years until 1922 when he was cast as a Rupert in Rex Ingram's silent film The Prisoner of Zenda, which I did watch in my film history class.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Do you remember it?
No, I only remember his face because he was cute.
Yep.
So after that, he actually signed a contract with MGM, known as Metro Pictures Corporation at the time, which they obviously changed their name.
Wait, what was it?
MGM.
Yeah.
It was Metro Pictures Corporation
Oh,
initially before they changed.
to MGM.
Yeah. Which stands for something else, but I didn't put it in here. So that's that. Ingram told Ramon at the time that he should change his name from what it was, which he was using Ramon Samaniego, to Ramon Navarro. So he did. So he went on to work with Ingram for his next 4 films, which is actually when he became kind of this, bigger actor. So by 1923, he was then cast in Scaramucci, which would be his first major successful role. And he was like, I think that was the role that he was making like $10,000 a week for
Damn.
it at that time, which 1923, hi.
That's amazing.
You remember what happened in 1920s? No?
What?
Well, this is
The Roaring
A
Twenties.
lot
yeah, it's the
happened
Roaring
in the
20s. Yeah, because of the collapse of, right? What happened in the 20s?
Wasn't Prohibition?
Prohibition, no. It wasn't. Was
That
it
was
Prohibition? No. What was the Dust Bowl? No, not the Dust Bowl.
The Spanish flu.
We're taking all of this out. No, what was the where everyone was like
The Great Depression.
Thank you.
But that was in the 30s, right?
Oh shit.
You had the Roaring 20s. And
Roaring
then
20s was
the
after
I
the
guess
Great
somebody.
Depression.
I think the person
No.
who's reading all of this needs the history lesson.
No, the Great Depression.
Oh, I'm not denying
the Great
that.
Depression definitely happened. In the
1929 through
30s.
1939.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was
So you
rearing
had
up.
the
I
Roaring
had
20s where
some
it
of
was
it
like
right.
I think Prohibition was happening in the 20s,
Yeah.
and people were like going to like speakeasies and like kind of going around the law and partying a lot, especially once Prohibition.
Yeah, 1920 to 1933.
So that was right in Prohibition. Then.
Oh, was right.
Price. That's the one that he was making 10 grand a week, which is crazy at that time. Yeah. It was all about Christ.
Gross.
But he was in some skimpy ass outfits. So Rudolph Valentino, who was big prior to that, he died in 1926, which again is why Ingram and his wife started positioning him and promoting him as the new Valentino. And so that was in 1926. So after that, Ramon became the screen's leading Latin actor at the time. So Latin lover. So his revealing costumes in the film, the one where he played Ben-Hur, caused a sensation, quite a sensation. And as such, he was elevated into the Hollywood elite at that time. So like basically from extra work to this leading man, Latin lover in the industry. So by 1927, he ended up co-starring with Norma Shearer in The Student Prince in Old Heidelberg. And in 1930, he starred in his first speaking role, because the 1930s is when it went out from silent film to audio. So that was his first role in the movie called The Flesh. In this, he sang and danced the tango.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. So he continued to appear in musicals, but his popularity began to slip, as it does in Hollywood, as you age. So in 1931, he starred with Greta Garbo in the successful film Mata Hari. After this, his career really did begin to fade quickly. And by 1935, he actually left MGM and appeared on Broadway in a show that quickly flopped. So unfortunately, his contract with MGM, him leaving was because his contract had expired, and MGM was like, yeah, we're not renewing it.
Damn.
Which sucks. So he ended up appearing in other films later in his career, but mostly as cameos. But he was awarded a Hollywood star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 1960. So with his popularity dwindling, unfortunately, Ramon fell into alcoholism due in part to his lifelong struggle with his homosexuality.
Oh, that's sad.
And also his upbringing as a Roman Catholic.
Yeah.
Same old tired story, right?
Shit'll get you.
Happens a lot. Yeah, unfortunately. So he actually ended up losing his driver's license because of the number of DUIs he had gotten. And he actually got 2 DUIs within 2 days of each other in 1960.
Damn.
Oh my gosh.
I know. So the same year he's getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, he's getting 2 DUIs and losing his driver's license.
Oh, brother.
I know. So Ramon kept his sexuality very much a secret and was uncomfortable talking about it even with those he knew. So at the time, homosexuality, like in Hollywood, like it was known, right? Like people didn't,
Yeah.
it was just there.
Well, I mean, even today, it's not like it's the.
Yeah. So, but
the best
obviously things would still be impacted because it was the 1960s. Like this is before Stonewall. This is, yeah. So, he had a secret relationship with journalist and publicist Herbert Howe, and adventurer Richard Halliburton. What's an adventurer? I was like an adventurer. They just go on a lot of adventures.
That's weird.
I know.
Yeah, sounds like somebody
It's about
that
having the
just
title of adventurer.
travels a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I don't know. So, despite his dwindling career, Ramon was actually pretty financially secure, but he lived as a recluse for the rest of his life, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure his homosexuality probably had a lot to do with that, as well as aging in Hollywood.
Oh, for sure.
So, he was pretty small, though. He was 5'6", and as he aged, he ended up getting advanced emphysema and arthritis. And at the time of his death, he only weighed 198 pounds.
What is emphysema?
Emphysema is like a lung.
It's like it's a breathing.
Yeah, I think it's like a bad cough thing. Emphysema. Emphysema is a lung disease that results from damage to the walls of the alveoli in your lungs, which are I know that that's the sacs in your lungs. That
Ew, don't say
know.
sax.
I don't like the word sax.
I don't either.
I'm like, you take that back.
Yeah, could you not say that again?
The next time either of you are doing anything, sexual, Anna, this would be you. Not that we don't, but it would be weird. You should say, "Can I touch your sack?" And see what the
Ew.
guy
Oh
says.
my god.
Ew.
He throws up immediately.
You're like, what? Why are you saying that? All right, Ramon would actually frequently use escort services, which makes sense at the time with being, really kind of closeted. So obviously he would hire a lot of hustlers and sex workers. So let's dive into the murders. So October 21st of 1968, 17-year-old Tommy Ferguson arrived in Los Angeles after escaping from a reform school in Illinois. He was actually sent there for beating up an older man and robbing him. Oh. So he went to L.A. Because his grandmother actually sent him there for a fresh start after all of this, after he ran away. And she told him, please stay with your 22-year-old brother, Paul, and his wife, Mari. So he went. So October 29th of 1968. I'm doing some intros into the killers, although I'm not telling you their history because I don't need to. But October 29th, 1968, Paul and his wife get into a heated argument, causing Mari, M-A-R-I, to leave and stay at her parents' house, leaving both Tommy and Paul alone. So these two brothers are now alone in this whatever. Paul was actually a hustler and would often be hired to do gay sex, to Hollywood people. And so he was recently fired from something, so they needed money. So Tommy had no job, whatever. Mari left. So they were like, we need some money. So one of the brothers, they actually both blame each other at this point. Or then, somebody called up Victor Nichols, who was a real estate developer with ties to the hustling world. And they called him because they were like, who can we go and, fuck and get money, basically. So Victor actually says, hey, there's this old actor, Ramon Navarro, who supposedly has a lot of money. I'll give you his phone number. But then at the same time, somehow they heard a rumor that Ramon had money hidden in his home somewhere. So the brothers were like, let's get in touch with him. So Victor gave them the phone number, and they spoke to Ramon on the phone, and Ramon was like, yeah, come on up, because he lived in the canyon. So the brothers knew that they were going to meet a homosexual for drinks, with the understanding that one of them would have to have sex with him in general, these two brothers. So October 30th, 1968, the day after. Ramon had a secretary. His name was Edward Weber, and he's somebody who would help him write his memoirs that he was writing at the time, but also he was the one who would set up and pay the escorts that would come and sleep with Ramon. But October 30th was actually one of his days off, so Ramon had set this one up on his own. However, Edward happened to stop at the liquor store that was by Ramon's house, where he had just placed a delivery order for cigarettes. So his secretary Edward offered to take them up and drop them off for Ramon, although he was a little bit like, why does Ramon have that? Because he doesn't smoke. So Edward ended up going up to his house around 5:30, and Ramon appeared at the door in a dressing gown and was really surprised to see him there. So Edward, his secretary, could smell lotion on Ramon. This is weird to me. But he could smell lotion on Ramon and could see that he had a freshly trimmed mustache and goatee. But Edward was not invited in at all. So Ramon's like, thank you for bringing this. Weird that you're here. And he would later testify that he had a feeling that he had guests in the house, which is why he wasn't invited in, as he normally would be. So both brothers, Paul and Tommy, earlier in the day, hitchhiked from where they were in Gardenia to West Hollywood to one of Paul's friends' homes, who he knew would drive him, as he had in the past driven him to some of the clients that he would go and have sex with. So the brothers got the ride, and then were dropped off at Ramon's house about 4:30. So Ramon answered the door in a blue and red silk robe and invited the brothers inside. They began drinking, and Ramon read Paul's palm and told him that he had a long lifeline. At the same time, that is when the secretary showed up, gave him the smokes, left. So then they kind of hung out. So Ramon taught Paul a song that he had composed on a piano, or on the piano, and eventually Ramon served them chicken gizzards,
Ew.
which sounds disgusting, but apparently he like made them chicken gizzards.
Interesting.
And that's technically when he had ordered the cigarettes from the liquor
Is
store
that
and
an
then all that.
aphrodisiac? Chicken livers?
I don't know. I don't.
Like
I don't
oysters?
I don't eat weird shit like that.
No, you don't.
Ramon then had a conversation with Paul, telling him that he had Hollywood qualities and that he would call his friend, who was a press agent, and suggest a meeting, which he ended up doing. And so that would actually is the last time that anyone heard from Ramon at the time. So the night ended up being clouded by lots of alcohol, and both brothers have differing accounts as they blame each other for the murder.
Oh, well, that's great.
So, since the brothers thought, based on rumors, that Ramon kept a large sum of money hidden in the house, things turned south. And once in the bedroom, whether before or after some sort of sexual content or engagement, because both were naked, one of the brothers, Paul, who was the one that was naked in the room with Ramon, demanded the $5,000 that was rumored to be hidden in the house. But Ramon was like, "There's no money. I don't hide money anywhere." They're like, we've heard it's behind this, behind a picture frame, but he's like, "There's no
That's so weird.
money here."
I would be like, take off all the picture frames and
Yeah.
you'll see that there's nothing here.
Yeah. So they're all super drunk, and I'll get into more of like this, but Tommy was the other brother because Paul was in the bedroom with him. Tommy had been on the phone with a girl he was dating in Chicago, but then joined them both in the bedroom, adding to the demands for money. So Ramon kept denying there's no money, which lit both brothers on fire, and they started like jostling, shaking, and rough shoving Ramon, which then escalated into them pummeling his face, which is when this started the torture.
Oh my God.
So Ramon,
Is this like trigger warning time?
a little bit, yeah.
But also like, if it's getting to that point and the person's still saying, I don't have the money, maybe they don't
Maybe
have
they don't
the
actually have
money.
the money.
Yeah.
So Ramon, who was obviously naked, fell after being hit in the face, and the brothers then yanked him back up and hit him down again. So it's also said that one of the brothers apparently danced twirling a cane and a baton and wearing a glove and a hat that he found in a closet, which is said to be Paul, was like basically naked doing this around. I don't know. So to keep Ramon conscious after beating him, they ended up dragging him into the bathroom, slapping him alert with cold water. Ramon then staggered back into the bedroom saying, "Hail Mary, full of grace," which is horrible, as he sobbed, eventually collapsing to his knees. So the brothers then took turns hitting Ramon in the genitals
Oh my God.
and on his head with the same cane that he was like dancing around with, Paul. So they then bound him with an electrical cord and struck him again and again, 22 blows in total.
Oh my gosh.
So Tommy then ended up going up to Ramon, scratching his face and neck to make it seem like a woman did the crime, and then tossed his mangled body onto the bed, leaving him to die. So they ended up writing on a mirror in the bedroom, "Us girls are better than faggots,"
Wow.
so that they could try to lead investigators to assume that it was a woman that attacked him because he was gay.
Yeah. Okay.
Meanwhile, they're hustlers fucking all these dudes
Right.
for money. So, okay. So Tommy and Paul then ransacked the home, not finding any money because there was none. And then they left Ramon and his home and then walked to Victor Nichols' apartment. Remember, Victor is who got them in touch with Ramon for the hustling. And they told Victor that they had killed Ramon. And Victor, being like, I don't want any part of this shit, gave them $8 for a cab to get them out of his house. So then they left.
Why?
That's
are
when you call the police.
Right. And also, if you're trying to like throw off the scent by being like, "Oh, it was a woman that did this," why are you going and telling anyone that was not part of it?
Thank you.
Like, hey, just to let you know, we did just murder this guy.
These men are fucking stupid.
I mean,
Like,
and
that's
it was
so stupid.
Yeah. Well, and it's obviously an illegal type of business that they were running
Right.
with hustling, especially with being gay was very, very illegal then. And so, but I also think it's really interesting that they scratched him up,
Right.
thinking that a woman would just be scratching some, I mean, and then writing on that. And they spelled faggots wrong, by the way.
Of course they did.
Fagits. So,
Faggots, like Cheez-Its.
yeah, like, I love that your mind went
Fucking
right
idiot.
to Jesus.
Like Jesus.
Jesus.
I know I could have been the only one
Probably
that's
not.
listening
Probably not.
because you guys didn't.
Yeah. Also, I just said Jesus, but I accidentally said Jesus. And did you know that there are macaroni-shaped Jesus called Jesus? Or Jesus?
Okay, so
no, what's
back-
Macaroni
backstory.
shaped Jesus.
So backstory: we have a friend, Katie Ray. She has her own podcast, Not a Great Whisperer. You should check it out. She used to work with us, and we at one time joked around about making, because she comes from a very Catholic
Yep.
household and stuff too, making macaroni that's macaroni and cheeses, and having them be shaped as Jesus.
Jesuses.
But then we looked it up, and it already
It already
existed.
exists.
damn.
I know.
You know, that brings up Glee, the grilled cheeses.
Oh yes,
Oh,
it
I
does.
forgot about that.
Yeah,
Oh, I used to love that show.
a classic.
Yeah.
I just watched a montage of like Glee
Did you really?
funny moments the other day.
That was a great show.
That's why it's top of mind.
All right, October 31st. So the day after Ramon, Edward, his assistant, secretary, whatever, came to work like he usually would, and got there around 8:30 a.m. When he walked in the house was in a clear state of disorder. Like chairs were overturned. There were a pair of glasses that were crushed in the living room carpet. There were liquor bottles everywhere in the house. And so Edward ended up being like, okay, search the home. And at first he didn't actually see anything. Like he even walked into the bedroom and the curtains were closed. It was pretty dark. And so he's like, okay. So as he usually would, he opened up the curtains, and that is when he saw Ramon, who was naked, lying on his back.
So he like walked right by him. Didn't notice.
Yeah. So he saw Ramon naked on the bed, lying on his back, with his face severely beaten. And so he then saw on the mirror, written in brown makeup pencils, what they used. Again, us girls are better than faggots. So he also saw the name Larry written in ink on the blue bedsheet next to Ramon's body. He also could see scratches carved into Ramon's neck. And then so Edward immediately called the police, and within minutes, investigators and reporters had arrived. So what's interesting is that one newspaper photographer actually stumbled upon a pile of bloody clothes, which was like a jacket, undershirt, a t-shirt, and 2 pairs of underwear in the ivy bed on the other side of the big iron fence that surrounded the property. So obviously Ramon was dead. So the preliminary coroner's report issued on that same day, which I guess is something that they do. Blood was noted to be smeared on the floor in the bedroom. There was blood on the ceiling, and there was a tooth noted lying on the floor at the foot of the bed. So obviously, because they were hitting him in the face. So Ramon's hands were tied behind his back with a brown electric cord. A white condom was found in Ramon's right hand, and the electric cord extended down and was tied around his ankles as well. So he had lacerations and ecchymosis, which I don't know what that is, were noted on his face and head. So that day, the front of the paper of the newspaper, actually it was the next day, the front of the newspaper read Ramon Navarro, silent film, era star beaten to death. So police also announced that the murder weapon at the time was a silver-topped cane that had been found at the crime scene. So the autopsy ended up revealing that Ramon's alcohol level was 0.23. Right now it's like 0.08, I think, is like the legal limit in California. So he was drunk. He had a fractured nose, and there was a bruising on his chest, neck, left arm, knees, and his penis.
Oh my gosh.
Because they were hitting him. And the cause of his death was actually suffocation. He choked on his own blood.
Oh my gosh.
God.
So, yeah.
That's horrific.
So he had a lot of injuries to his face, neck, nose, and mouth. So the coroner actually determined that had the assailants left him on his side or stomach instead of face up, he would not have died.
Well, yeah.
So,
Yes.
yeah. So, arrest and trial.
This is infuriating.
Investigation first. The police immediately started questioning known male sex workers, and Paul's name actually came up in some of the interviews. So they took a particular interest in Paul's brother-in-law, Larry Ortega, Mari's brother, due to Larry being written next to Ramon's body. Larry was actually known as a sex worker, a gay sex worker as well. And so they immediately were like, So they went to him. So Larry had actually spent an evening with Ramon the week before and actually was a regular visitor to Ramon. So Ramon's phone record, however, was where the police traced a 48-minute call to 19-year-old Brenda Lee in Chicago. Remember, Tommy and Paul were actually both from Chicago, but Tommy had just gotten to LA from Chicago. So that call was made at 8:21 in the evening of October 30th. That is the same call Tommy made while he was there. So Chicago police interviewed Brenda, and she actually told them that she had been speaking to her boyfriend, Tommy. They've been together about 6 months at that time. So her statement, she actually was quoted as saying, "He told me that he and his brother were invited to this movie star's house. Then he told me he was working and trying to save enough money so he could send me about $300 so I could come down there and we could get married. I don't know how he got on the subject, but Tommy told me that his brother knew there was $5,000 behind one of the pictures in the house and that they were going to try to find it. Tom said my brother was upstairs with Ramon and he was trying to find out where the money was. Then I heard a bit of yelling and Tom said, I have to go before my brother really hurts Ramon and I want to find out what's going on." And that was the end, and he hung up. Both brothers had records in Chicago, so their fingerprints were rushed to the LAPD, and it was determined that they matched samples taken at the crime scene. So on November 6th of 1968, really not that long after, the police arrested both brothers, Paul and Tommy, in Bell Gardens. Tommy was in the apartment of one of Paul's friends, the one that they went to after everything, and Paul was in a diner nearby. So Paul denied having to do anything, to do with the murder, but then later said that he passed out, and once he woke up, Ramon was dead. Mm-hmm. Tommy said that after his call with Brenda, he went into the bedroom, and Ramon was all beat up, and said that Paul told him later he died bravely. That's all he wanted out of life, was to live and suck a few dicks.
Oh my God.
Says the gay hustler. Okay. So Tommy was 17 at the time, but he was tried as an adult, and Paul was held without bail pending trial. So the trial, both brothers were charged with first-degree murder, obviously, and the state of California versus Paul Robert and Thomas Scott Ferguson began on July 28th, 1969. But if you guys remember, at that time, we did a past episode on Manson. Sharon Tate and all that happened during that time too, which delayed a little bit of this trial, which is why it was July of the whole next year. So both brothers were pitted against each other, and both denied that either of them actually killed Ramon. So Paul and Tommy's mother, Lorraine Smith, actually went and testified that Tommy wrote and told her that Ramon deserved to be killed because he was nothing more than an old faggot.
Wow.
So Ramon's sexuality was obviously front and center in the trial. I know.
And that still happens today. People still think about shit like that today.
They're exploiting the gay community and making money off of them.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
So anyway.
You only like us when you can benefit from us.
Mm-hmm. But you're still sucking dicks. Anyway. Okay. So obviously, as I said, Ramon's sexuality was front and center in the trial, with the defense for Tommy really leaning into the idea that a female intruder did it because Ramon, and this is what the lawyer is quoted as saying, back in the days of Valentino, this man who set female hearts aflutter was nothing but a queer. There's no way of calculating how many felonies this man committed over the years for all of his piety. What would have happened that night if Paul had not gotten drunk on Navarro's booze, at Navarro's urging, and at Navarro's behest? Would this have happened if Navarro had not been a seducer and a traducer of young men?
That's bullshit.
Okay, so they're blaming him for these men who
this is
decided
the
to go
definition of
there.
victim blaming.
It is, and it's
100%,
gross. And this is, and I've been thinking about this the whole time. This is why it's equality and equity and diversity and inclusion is really fucking important, because these people were able to not get away because they obviously whatever you're about to say. Well, they might have gotten away, but the fact that it was such an okay thing to a degree for somebody to be like, oh, well, he was a fag, let's just kill him.
Openly just be like,
right, like,
he deserved it because he seduced these men.
Okay, but he also lived in a time when it was not acceptable to be gay, so he had to then figure out what to do. It's kind of like the AIDS crisis. People would go to the piers and have sex with random people instead of, like, having a
Well, they couldn't
a
have this.
life that they could
Yeah.
that they ever wanted because they couldn't live that life.
Yeah.
Right.
And now you're taking advantage of a man who was just trying to find somebody.
Well,
to
just think of they took
feel
advantage of
for.
gay people by being gay sex workers when they were not gay.
Yeah.
So
And like it's just people just wanted to feel touched. They wanted to feel love. They wanted to feel something, right? And now you're coming in to take advantage.
imagine
of them
being
and
a
killing
straight
them.
man and never ever being able to be with a woman ever. Like, what would you do?
Think on that.
Interesting.
Yeah, fuckers.
Because they're definitely listening to our podcast. So a jury deliberated for 2 days before finding the brothers guilty of first-degree murder. So at the sentencing, which happened not too long after, Tommy actually confessed. And he blurted out, he kept trying to put his fingers up my rectum. I started hitting him. I hit him again, and he hit the floor. He died of a broken nose, and I'm the one who busted it. But obviously, his lawyers were like, ignore. But regardless, both brothers were sentenced to life in prison, which would be served at San Quentin.
Well, if he put his hand in your rectum, he probably thought it was okay to because you were there
a
having
gay
sex with
sex
him.
worker.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have put my finger in
No,
somebody's ass, but
you're also that's not you.
no. But regardless, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you were there. You literally were there for that. So anyway, the judge recommended that they actually never be released. But
They were. What, days later?
they were, likely because of how people viewed homosexuality at the time. Tommy was paroled just 6 years into his prison
Oh my
sentence.
God.
And Paul was paroled just 9 years into his prison sentence. So let's go up on some current updates. How do you think these boys lived after that?
Oh, great.
Do you think that they maybe committed more crimes?
Maybe.
Maybe they did. So Tommy was in and out of prison a lot. Fucked up life, and he ended up dying by suicide on March 6th of 2005. But Paul, he was the one that got out 9 years later, actually got married and had a son, and for some time was a successful entrepreneur.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Ew.
But as most criminals, he got right back into it after some time, and he is now serving a 60-year sentence for a 1989 rape and sodomy charge. So in an interview, Paul...
Which didn't need to happen if they were just,
So in an
care
interview,
of.
Paul actually said, I'm going, wow, this guy can tell some pretty good stories, but I'm getting drunk. The next thing I knew, I found myself being overwhelmed by his body and just like hairiness and I guess being kissed or whatever the fuck it was. And I come out of that, I go, get the fuck, and boom, and I walked out. So that's what happened. So of murder, I was innocent. Of manslaughter, I wasn't innocent. Even of manslaughter, maybe I could say I was innocent, but I was guilty of hitting him. I did hit him, but I did it in a drunken stupor.
And you still killed him, so you were a fucking murderer. Like,
So both of
Yeah.
them deny, and then both of them admit.
Of course.
Oh,
because they were probably together, and they probably did it together.
and it was about the money.
yes,
Yeah.
it was obviously about the money.
Yeah. So
Just leave people alone.
here's some interesting info. So the Ferguson brothers, so both Tommy and Paul, got way more attention in this entire thing than Ramon's death got at all.
Of course.
So they received fan letters from women when they were in
Gross.
prison. Truman Capote interviewed one of them for a TV special, and there were numerous tabloid articles and sensational novels based off of their lives specifically. So the time that they served in prison for the crime was incredibly short. And although they received life sentences, like as I said, one only served 6 years, one only 9, and they were released on parole. And so it's widely speculated that this lenience, as I said before, was because they murdered a gay man. So, yeah, they both obviously got incarcerated again and went and did similar crimes, and just a fucking mess. So
God, I hate people.
anyway, that was the story of Hollywood's Latin lover, Ramon Navarro.
well, that
Sad.
was very
know.
fucking sad.
I know.
And yeah, I just hate people.
I couldn't imagine being, being gay at the time. And I remember, obviously when we were younger in like the 90s, and even I came out in 2004. Technically I came out in 2003 to my friend Hillary, who you'll meet at our tenure.
Yay.
She was on that
I went to
podcast.
high school. Oh yeah, you met her. That's
Yeah.
right. She's in the
Yeah.
Coast Guard. Yeah,
Coast Guard,
she'll be
yeah.
there with her fabulous girlfriend. And so, but anyway, yeah, when I came out at that time, Like that was early 2000s. Like, there was, it was just different. Even when I was 21, like it was, gay marriage was not at all approved yet. Like there was just, still some fighting to do, but it was nothing like having to be so hidden
Right.
in the closet that you have to hire sex workers just to be able to have any sexuality in your life at all. So
It's fucked up.
yeah. And and it sucks too because Hollywood, I feel like Hollywood, and I'm not a part of it, but I'd love to be, but I'm not right now.
Not that
in
side
this
of
sense,
Hollywood.
but
not this. Any
it's so incredibly progressive and loving and accepting, and like obviously there's some bullshit there too. Clearly we did with Brandon's story, with some bad shit, but I'm sure that he would have been able to be way more of himself in that environment than not.
Right.
So I don't know. It's sad.
It's all fucking sad.
I know.
Again, there's no reason to kill someone. Just off yourself.
Yeah.
That's it. That's today's lesson.
And I don't understand why there were people like sending fan mail and stuff, and why it was so okay for them to be let off so early.
Yeah.
With I understand the bigotry of the time of like, well, you killed a gay man, so it's like more okay than if you would have
they're
killed
like,
a straight
thank you.
man.
Yeah.
But like, you were having gay sex with this gay man before. And
Well, I think that
you
they
were
probably blamed.
getting paid.
Yeah, but I think that they probably blamed the gay people saying that they seduced the straight men because that still happens now.
Yeah.
I've had experiences with a straight friend who allowed a gay friend to whatever, and they were going to blow up their life, and I was the one that stopped it.
Because you're like, you decided
I'm
to
like,
do
you
that.
Right.
let him suck your dick,
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's like that, it's it just turns into that the gay man, and I'm sure gay men do seduce some straight men, but like for the most part, no, thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
There's like not a win there, right? Like at all.
Well, I mean, there's skeevy, pervy people in any group, right? So
Yeah.
you have the gross gay men that are trying to seduce straight men and whatever. But again, it doesn't.
I mean,
none of it deserves being murder. Just like straight
No, I
men
agree.
shouldn't be murdering innocent women or anything
Well,
else.
people just shouldn't be murdering ever.
Well, no, you shouldn't.
But then we wouldn't have a podcast. So
but maybe
I
that's a
don't
good
know.
thing.
I'm kidding. No, no.
Podcast is over. No more murders.
No more murders. No, it's interesting, but I do think it's like this is why I don't feel bad about objectifying straight men,
Yeah.
like at all, right? Like I don't care who it is. I'm like, ooh, daddy, right? I'm not like doing it to their face mostly.
I mean, you're not
But-
catcalling.
No, I don't do that shit. That's weird
I
as fuck.
love objectifying straight men.
Yes, because
Sometimes
they
it's
deserve
worth it.
So yeah, but interesting. So yeah, this was an interesting one.
That was a really interesting one.
The Hollywood, yeah, a girl named Holly who likes a good wood, which makes no sense for this episode.
No, they usually don't.
I
but
fully thought it
but
was a
it
girl
was-
named Holly that got murdered with a piece of
Just
wood.
with a piece of wood, and everyone will think that too, but it's not. It's about Hollywood murders. I don't know why I come up with these fucking titles because they're dumb. But,
no one does. No one understands.
But
it.
my title, We've All Had a Latin Lover, have we not? That kind of is something.
yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah. So, anyway,
Well, two fucked up stories.
all wrapped in one episode about Holly and her wood. So,
Yep.
Period.
Yeah. So, just as a quick reminder for everyone that we'll now do with the outros because they don't really care about them anymore, is to, if you love this, give us a thumbs up on YouTube. And if you're not on YouTube, then go and rate and review, mostly in Apple or only in Apple and Spotify.
You can rate on Spotify. You can
Yeah.
review on Apple.
There you go.
You can also leave comments on Spotify.
Yes.
And if you don't do anything, then you're just an asshole.
Correct.
If you're just listening silently, then you're a freak.
And we love you, though.
And we love you for listening
We
still.
love a good
But
freak.
we would prefer you to.
But you're being qualified as a freak.
Yes. So,
So if anybody is still listening,
yes, as Anna would say.
It's like, no.
Oh, yes,
Oh, you
Misty,
did it.
if you're still there. Birds? Oh, chirping.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes total
Or like,
sense.
I was thinking more crickets because, like, is anybody
Are those
listening
crickets?
still?
Yeah,
No,
probably not.
they're not
Yeah,
crickets.
they're literally like we've signed off. We're
They're like, I've moved on with my
We're
day.
listening
The murder is over.
to ourselves. Yeah, there's no more murder, so we're moving on. But go do all those things because that really does help us for sure. And
Thank you.
what do we do? Slap asses and lick toes? I don't
And
remember.
slap my ass like a drum.
Oh, slap my ass
And lick toes.
like a drum.
I think that just should be like the sign off.
I agree.
should.
And slap my ass like a drum.
And slap my ass like a drum. And what was the toe one?
Wait, we should.
I hit the mic.
Wait,
was
3, 2,
aggressive.
1. We should say it all at the same time. 3, 2, 1.
And
Slap my ass like a drum.
That was
Bye.
pretty good for the first time doing it.
Yeah.
I know. Well, then we didn't say bye. I
Bye.
did.
That
but
is
you guys
bye.
didn't.
That is
Oh.
fine.
Oh, so that's just how we say bye now. What was the
Yeah.
toe one though from last week? Was it
If
licking
you don't
toes?
if you don't leave a review, I'm going to sneak into your window and eat your toes.
Oh, eat. I thought we were gonna. I don't want to lick. No.
I'm gonna eat.
I don't
All
want
of
to
it.
eat either.
Excuse me. All of it's gross. But all right. So shall we do this again?
Sure.
Uno, dos, tres.
Slap my ass like
a drum.
I fucked it up.
You fucked it up.
Goodbye.
Okay, goodbye. Thank you all.